Okay, episode 4, series 12. To be honest, it was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. After last week's episode, to be honest, anything would have been better than it. Yeah, this one, my biggest problem with it is that, again, it kind of wastes what it had. Because the first half of this episode, I was thinking, oh, here we go again, because the first half of this episode might as well just be a lecture about Tesla and Thomas Edison. Like, that's literally the majority of. I say the first half, just over the first half of this episode, until we get our monster reveal just after the halfway point, which is scorpion creatures. And the queen of these scorpion creatures looks an awful lot like the Empress of the Rachnos. Yeah, it really does. It also doesn't help that the voice and tone in that is very similar as well. But to be honest, we do get some actual, Doctor Who stuff in this. And I say that because a lot Series 11 and Series 12 haven't really been feeling like Doctor Who, but this, we'll get some monsters chasing people very, very briefly, admittedly, but we do get that. And that is, the monster is an actual threat. Do you remember that? Yeah, the monster is a bit more of a threat this time round, It actually does kill people and present itself as a threat rather than, just saying that it's a threat. Though, to be honest, I wish we had more of the monsters in this episode, to be honest, because they are pretty lacking in it, to be honest. Their screen time is pretty minimal. And apart from the Queen, all the others are CGI. Yeah, they're CGI scorpions. And, I know it's not feasible for them to, build hundreds of models of these scorpions, but it would be nice if they made maybe just one and maybe just had close-ups of that, because it's just, I don't know, they just look fake. They just look really fake. That's just my thing on this, say what you like, but if you've got a dodgy practical effect, to me, a dodgy practical effect is more believable because, well, it's actually there, rather than a dodgy CGI effect, which may look, more realistic in some ways, but it's obvious that isn't there, and they don't have the money to make it as realistic as, say, Disney or Warner Bros. Or someone, big, massive American companies will be able to make it. This is just a tiny BBC budget, which is a shame for something like that. Yeah, I really wish they would go on the practical route. Saying that, though, the Scorpion Queen, it does look pretty. It did look pretty decent. The face and that, although for some reason it just has a pretty human body, to be honest, and has a CGI tail, scorpion tail that kind of isn't seen unless it's part of the scene where where the Scorpion Queen is about to kill someone. Yeah. I will say though, I wasn't as bored at this episode. The first half I was getting a bit bored. I was looking at my phone a couple of times, but the second half was engaging enough to stop me from being bored during this episode. I'm not saying this episode is great or amazing, but it is a lot better than the previous 3 episodes of Series 12. I would say this is probably the best episode of Series 12 so far. That's not saying much, that's pretty much saying nothing at all. But, at least I'm not coming away from this literally struggling to stay awake or just wanting to bang my head against a wall. at least, is something, at least. But, yeah. Again, I don't really have a lot to say about it, but I wouldn't say it's a particularly great episode. So it's one of those episodes you could sit down and watch it and just go, all right, that was, fairly competent, fairly decent enough. But it's not one of those episodes, that you'd never go searching out for it. Which does make me sad that this is probably one of the best quality episodes, best episodes out of the Chibnall era, probably so far. And this is the Standard Wear Act. Like, to be honest, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, would I judge this episode as, as good as I am, compared to previous eras and the classic series and everything? And I was just thinking, no, I wouldn't. If I was comparing this to something from the RTD era, or even maybe to a lesser extent the Moffat era, and special, but particularly the classic series, I wouldn't rate this as a watch this and it's decent enough, which is a shame because this is only slight. To be honest, I wouldn't call it any more than just average. To be honest, I know I said that about the Series 12 opener, but thinking back on the Series 12 opener, no, I'd actually rate that below average. This one I would call average. Like this, complete middle of the ground. This, you could watch it and at least, watch it and just have have at least some enjoyment out of it. Whereas the Series 12 opener, I was bored to death by. And episode 3, I was just more bored and irritated by. But this one, while it does go into lecture and exposition mode for, to be honest, most of the episode, it's not that bad. There are far worse ones. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Bearing in mind, this is just my initial thoughts after just watching the episode. My thoughts may change, afterwards. I mean, I said the same about when watching the Series 12 opener and thinking about looking back at it. It's just like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, when I watched the Series 12 opener on New Year's Day, it was New Year's Day, so, I was a bit tired and, So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about it and that. It's just one of those things where, to be honest, I would like if it is. The problem is, I think, with the Chibnall era is every historical story, it has to be a complete fucking lecture. It literally has to be a lecture, and a history lesson, and people argue, oh yes, this is teaching people. People like teaching the kids. It's just like, so you do realize, this isn't school. This isn't a documentary. This isn't a historical documentary or anything like that. Like, to be honest, if I wanted to watch a show, like a historically accurate show or something that would teach me about historical figures and about the past and that, I'd just watch Horrible Histories. At least that's then, funny and entertaining. But this wasn't bad. It wasn't good, particularly good either. It was just like slap bang in the middle. It's one of those episodes you'll watch and going, oh yeah, that's alright. And then probably just forget about it. And yeah. And to be honest, you might have noticed I haven't mentioned the name of this episode throughout the entire review. Why is that, you might ask? Simply because I have forgotten the name of it. And I'm literally having to look on iPlayer. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. There we go. There we go. Okay. So yeah, anyway, next week we've got the return of the Jadoon. Will it be fucked up or not? Probably is the answer. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyhow, See you next week.